Welcome to the sixth, I believe, episode of the Girl Next Door podcast. Basically, the podcast with Guad, I believe that was the last one. We talked about performing and kind of some tips on like actually performing and what to do while you're performing. But one of the questions that I've gotten a lot from artists that I've talked to is just how to even get performances in the first place. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today in this video, slash podcast, whatever you're looking at this on. But there's three main ways that I want to go over on how to get performances. Personally, this last month I performed on an average of about four shows this last month, 4 shows a month. So that's one show per week that I've averaged this last month. So I perform pretty regularly. I feel like you see me posting a performance all the time is what it feels like. So basically just I do get asked, like, I want to perform, how do I go about this? And there's three main reasons. The first one I'm going to get into is basically going out there and getting your own shows and booking places. The second one being just knowing the promoters and knowing when shows are going on, so you can either ask to get on shows, or they just you can ask them to get on shows. You'll know before shows get posted and things like that. And then the third way, which is my preferred way, is making your own shows, is throwing your own shows and booking them yourself. So basically, the first one is actually not throwing the shows yourself, but reaching out to venues yourself. And before I even get into that, I believe that the very, very first step, if you just want to perform, if you've never performed before, or you've only performed like one time before, and you just want to get out there and get practice and just start, the first thing that I did, so now all of these shows that I did this past month, every single show I got were paid shows. So all 4 of those shows were paid shows, a show per week. Every single one of them I got paid for. But 2 years ago, when I first really kind of started out doing this stuff, the very first thing that I did before anything is I just looked up open mics in my area, and I went to as many of those as I can. So during a certain week, usually there'll be like weekly open mics at different bars around town, stuff like that. Usually it's bars, it's coffee shops, it's things like that, just where people are and they have sound systems or whatever, and they're trying to get people in there, and like staying in there so they can buy drinks and blah, blah, blah. So these are not paid, right? So in the beginning, I looked up, so my city, I live in Cincinnati. I just looked up Cincinnati open mic, Google it. You're going to see stuff pop up. Like, there's going to be stuff every Wednesday, every Friday, every Tuesday. It's usually random days during the week. And these are not paid, obviously, but this is the best thing that I would recommend that an artist do right now if you just want to perform and get practice, and just get out there and known so that you can start getting booked for shows and getting paid for them. But the first step is just getting out there and just being seen and getting people familiar with you and with your face and with your music. And if your music's good and your performance is good and you get better and you keep showing up, then you're going to start getting booked for shows, and people are going to start asking you, and you'll start getting more and more opportunities to perform from these open mics. And you'll meet the people that are organizing these, and if you are good, they will see you and they will ask you to come back. And you might get a feature at one of these, and that can lead to other shows and other opportunities and people seeing you. A lot of collaborations can come from here if you meet other people that are good. These are open mics, so it's a mixed bag a lot of the time. Like, it's not always like, the most serious artists and whatnot. So if you are a serious artist, you can really stand out going to these type of things, which are basically just like open casting calls, like if you've ever been to one of those. But yeah, the first thing that I do before anything on this list is just get out there, look up open mics, because that's really what I did. I literally went to I went to open mics like religiously. Every single week I showed up for months. For maybe an entire year I did this. Where I was like, okay, I know the Comet, for example. It's a bar. They have an open mic every whatever. I forget. It was maybe Wednesday or Tuesday, whatever. I would be up there religiously. Every single, and you keep showing up and people start recognizing you, people start getting familiar with you, people start, wanting to hear you, people start coming to see you, like, and that's how you really start getting your foot in the door when it comes to performing locally. So that's the biggest tip that I could give artists right now. I know it's a little bit sticky because COVID, but things are starting to open back up, so there's definitely going to be opportunities out there very, very soon, if not right now. Just search for them, and ask. Or you don't even have to ask for open mics. You can literally just go. Just show up. Bring your music. Try your best. Keep going, and you'll get better performing, and you'll get practice, and you'll get your face out there, which is the most important thing. So the first thing on this list would be reaching out to venues and yourself and trying to get shows there. So this is something that I also did. I figured out that bars actually want people to perform there because they want people to perform there to entertain the people there so they can buy more drinks. So they usually have a certain monthly budget, or whatever, I don't know if it's weekly, whatever, for acts, for hiring acts and bands and whatever. So if you just reach out to these bands and figure out who's in charge of booking, just literally any bar should have an email on their website or Instagram, whatever. You can find them and just ask who's in charge of booking, get in touch with them, tell them what you do, and, tell them, that you want to perform there. You maybe have a couple of other artists that you want to bring up too, and then you'll get a day set up, and then you can make a flyer and all that. But that's literally half of the case for getting shows is just asking. So you can actually go as an artist and ask these ask these booking people at the bars, who's in charge, what dates do you guys have open, are you looking at getting more acts in, blah, 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 blah. You can talk to them. They can either say no and be like, maybe not right now, whatever, or they'll say yes and they'll be ready to do it because they want people in there. And that's how I got this bar gig. I threw a bar show for Crash, the first kind of Crash show that I threw. And I had some artists up there, all my friends, all just artists that I fuck with. And it was, it was cool because it was a paid show. So I didn't have to rely on somebody else to get me paid. I knew exactly what the bar was paying, And also I got to pay my friends and give them an opportunity to perform. And I actually got asked, like, how I got that gig and how I made that happen at that bar, because I guess they hadn't had any, like, rap acts there before. They just had, like, bands and comedy and stuff like that. And literally it was just that I asked. Like, half of it is just asking. And maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't. But most people don't even ask, and so they don't ever get the show. And that's really half the thing. It's just showing up first, and then second is asking. So yeah, so you can actually reach out to these bars yourself and do it that way, and try to do that. So, they have people that are in charge of booking, get in touch with them, find out who that is. I actually, a little finesse tip, I posed as a manager, like a DJ/manager. So I basically emailed people as my manager, and I'm like, oh, I manage all these artists or whatever, and it's really just my friends and me. But they don't have to know that. And you don't have to do that, but it is kind of like an extra little finesse tip, like, in there for you. So number 2 would be knowing the people that are promoters. Knowing the promoters in your city and having some type of relationship with them or familiarity with them. And just asking them if they're having a show coming up and asking to get on the bill, or them just having that relationship with you. They'll probably have you in mind anyways, so they'll reach out to you, and that's when people start booking you for shows. When you know the people that are throwing the shows, you're at the top of their mind when they go to throw shows. So and you don't have to be friends with people. I'm not saying go and fake a friendship or be fake with somebody just to get a show or just to, like, whatever. Don't do that. Definitely would not recommend that. But I'm just saying, getting your face out there, and this is another part of just showing up. Like, once they start seeing you more and more and more, then you're just a part of the scene, and they want to know who you are. And if you introduce yourself and then just ask about shows, then that's fine. That's a relationship right there, and they'll keep you in mind. It's that simple. It's literally that simple. It's just asking. Half of the time, it's just literally just asking. And I'm still trying to get better at this. I don't ask as much as I really should at this point. But that is something that really helped me in the beginning and now. And I need to do more of, honestly. But, yeah, and you can be acquaintances with these people. Like, they don't have to be your best friends. Do not fake anything. Don't be a fake ass, fucking person to do this. But this is a major thing. Like, a big part of music and this whole scene and industry, if you want to call it that, is just knowing people. It's literally just people. The whole entire industry is just people. And so if you know the people that are doing things, and in charge of things, then you're gonna be one of the first people that they come to when they're throwing a show in the city. So that's a really major one. Just know those people that are throwing the shows. Know the promoters. Have a relationship with them, and maintain it. Try to maintain it. If you can help them, try to help them. That's the main thing. Like, if you can add to their thing or help them in some way, that's the biggest way that you should establish a relationship with them. But obviously just be yourself, be regular. Okay, and number 3. So this is my preferred method of throwing shows. This is my favorite method. And that is throwing your own shows and at wherever you want. And this is a little bit different from number 1, which was just reaching out to bars and things like that to see when they're booking, or who's in charge of booking. This is throwing your own show on your own terms at whatever venue you want. Bring on whoever you want. Make as much or as little money as you want. And this is basically create your own. Like, this is the create your own option. It's the best. Now, you're not going to make you might not make a bunch of money from throwing your own shows. Like, you might just break even, but the experience is usually a lot better, and you can really kind of craft the whole thing also, and it's just usually a lot more fun, and cool. Like, it's just a lot more cool, low key. So now this is something where, so in the past, it's kind of cool to just get booked, people, all the shows that I've done, people are reaching out to me at this point. People are just reaching out to me. I don't do that much asking anymore. I need to ask more, honestly, but all of these shows are people that just they know of me from being around. They know of me from performing, and I post my performances. I post footage of my performances and pictures on my Instagram. So anybody that goes to my Instagram sees that I am booked, that I'm performing. That's another big thing. But I'm not even going to get into that in this video. But when you throw your own shows, you're going to have to do everything. So there's a couple of good things and a couple of bad things about this. If it's a show that you're getting booked for, you get paid. You don't have to worry about promoting it. You don't have to worry about booking the venue. You don't have to worry about anything, making sure the things are organized. You don't have to worry about the sound. You don't have to worry about nothing. You just show up, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long it is, and you get your money and you get out. And it's nice because you get all the reward. You don't have to really take any risks. It's fucking nice. You can just slide in, slide out, whatever. But there's a cap on how much you can make. There's a cap on the amount of creative control you can have on the show. There's a lot of things that are kind of like not as good with those kind of shows. So, but also, if you are going to be throwing your own shows, you will be in charge of everything. So you are in charge of promoting it. You're in charge of making the flyer. You're in charge of making sure that you have the right people in there, the right acts. You have everything organized. You have everything coordinated. You have the sound down. You're paying the venue. Everything financially is on you. Everything is on you. So that's the only thing with throwing your own shows, is that you have to make sure that you need a team, preferably, to help you and going into everything that goes into organizing and promoting and, throwing a show, a concert. There's a lot that goes into it. So I would not recommend this if you're just on your own. just because of the amount of shit that it takes. At least 2 people I'd recommend for this kind of project. Every other one you can do on your own. 1 and 2 you can do by yourself entirely. But this one you're gonna need at least 2 people to do this, just because of how much it takes to do it. But if you can do it and manage to pull it off, it is the most amount of fun in the end, and it can be the most amount of just general payback. So that's a cool option. And I think this is a pretty good episode. If you guys have any questions, just make sure to DM me on Instagram at ILUVUSONIA. I love you, Sonia. That's me, and this is my podcast. Welcome to the 6th episode. Definitely come in on the next one. I'm gonna have my friend Mark, aka Photon, an amazing videographer, creator out of the city, who is gonna be talking to us about, just industry stuff and, fucking being creative. So, I'll see you guys. Again, if you have any questions, artists, whoever, just make sure to DM me, bro. But yeah, if you guys want kind of more in depth on how to throw your own shows or whatever, just let me know, and I'll definitely make an in-depth video of any of these, whether it's the relationships with promoters or how to do that, or how to reach out to bars or any of that. If you want me to do more in-depth video on those individually, I'll definitely do it. I'm down. Just let me know that you want it, and I'll make it happen. So this is the Girl Next Door podcast, and I'm out this beat. Yeah. Yeah.